Is there such a thing as bad calories or bad food? I was watching a video yesterday on Instagram from a bodybuilding fitness influencer, and it was talking about, people always push the caloric deficit thing. You can eat whatever you want, balanced, whatever, or, you can eat sweets, you can eat Doritos, you can eat whatever. Caloric deficit is all that. You need to worry about. You need to concern yourself with. Just make sure it fits into your macros. And I'm gonna say I have no background. I have no education in nutrition, formally, anything like that. But what I will say is having done some bodybuilding esque training and eating pretty bro and having a really balanced approach, and my current understanding of nutrition through trial and error, I think it's a flawed. I think we're gonna come out and see in the future that looking at it as calories in, calories out is flawed, and that it's like an outdated way of thinking. And I really do think there are bad foods, and I know people say, "Oh, well, that don't you're gonna have a bad relationship with food. Don't say that certain foods are bad. That's nonsense." But I'm sorry, Doritos are bad. Like it is bad. Cake is bad. Vegetable oil, like all that stuff, and added sugar and processed, like highly refined anything is not good. And the reason why I say, like, this is why I think it's kind of outdated and bad is that if you're eating most of your food, like I don't count calories. I don't even count calories. But if you're getting, the reason why I think it's flawed is because if you're getting your nutrition through whole foods, so let's say you're eating eggs and bacon for breakfast, right? You're eating beef patties with a little bit of cheese for your lunch. Let's say you have some lettuce with that. I'm just hypothetically saying, if you eat a carnivore animal-ish based diet, some fruit with that, maybe some berries, the hamburger patties, and a little bit of lettuce. Look, you can say whatever you want, carnivore, keto, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. And then for dinner, you have some chicken thighs and whatever, or maybe a small portion of rice, or maybe you have some ground beef, some ground turkey, whatever, some pork chops, or a little bit of rice or some fruit or whatever. If you're eating a lot of nutrient dense foods that have some fat content too, the thing is that it's hard to not feel satiated after eating that. So the overeating, kind of in a way, for a lot of people is going to resolve itself because you're not eating all these processed carbohydrates that are triggering your response to eat every hour. If you're eating a 10-ounce ribeye for breakfast, you're going to be pretty well stuffed for for quite some time. So, and I've found that true for myself. And I'm not getting into the whole debate of carb versus no carb. It's not even like that. Right now, like carnivore or keto, animal based, paleo versus you know consuming carbohydrates. But I still think you should make. I think for a lot of people, lowering their carbohydrate consumption is a good idea, especially in the Western United States. Um, what we consider normal carbohydrate intake is like crazy high. But I think when you get your foods through, or most of your nutrition through animal based sources primarily, and just whole foods in general. So if you're consuming a lot of meat of good sources, eggs, vegetables, fruits, whatever, and I'm going to say things like rice and potatoes for some people in moderation. It's hard to overeat when you're eating donuts and pastries and bread all the time, and Starbucks and whatever. I'm just saying it's easier to overeat because you're getting a lot of the responses to signal hunger and things like that from. There's like studies and talk about that, how eating those kind of foods with the carbohydrates and sugar or whatever, it increases your like hunger response or whatever, so, or like it signals to eat again. So find me somebody that eats whole foods like that, and It's hard because it's hard to really eat over like 2,500 ish calories a day like that unless you're, athletic or whatever, but you're just not going to be hungry. So I think that it's outdated information, the whole bad food versus good food. I think it's just personally people that grift on social media to try and sell their diet plans because they want to convince you, no, you don't have to do anything hard, like you can still do all this. I think if you're going to have a realistic relationship, look, I eat pizza every once in a while. I mean, yeah, I do, but I'm not gonna, I realize that if I want to make significant progress and I want to maintain overall health and wellness, that I don't need to be consuming things like that on the regular. I mean, I turn down, French fries and desserts and stuff at work that I'm offered all the time because I know it's going to make me feel like absolute shit after I eat it, and it's going to be counterproductive to my goals. So a certain level of discipline does have to be required. I'm not saying you can't cheat every now and again on your, with your nutrition, and maybe around the holidays you eat something, or every couple of weeks you eat a pizza. Hey, it's whatever. But I don't think that it's a good idea to tell people that just fit it into your macros and do it. Caloric deficit, because there's a difference between just body fat alone and that as a marker and being a healthy body weight and being metabolically healthy. And I think that those two things are just so lost because people are only seeing the weight loss aspect of fitness and health and nutrition and wellness, and they're not looking at it through the lens of actual what's on the inside, and their just how their body's processing everything and their actual metabolic health as a whole. So that's my 2 cents. And now I'm just starting to ramble, but I think that there are bad foods. I think the whole "there are no bad foods" is bullshit. I think people just don't want to justify their addiction to whatever on some level. And I'm not. That doesn't mean that you can't occasionally partake, but don't delude yourself into thinking that it's harmless, because it isn't. If you look at the obesity rate in this country, and you look at the diabetes rate, I mean, how long have we had these foods for? These hyper palatable foods like crumble cookies, Doritos, and all this stuff, right? Like, did we see diabetes like this, 100+ years ago? I mean, granted, we have more ability to understand and actually track this shit now, but I mean, did we have all these things 100 years ago? No, not to the level it is. And you could argue, well, people didn't live as long too and whatever, but no, the rate is going up, and it's because of the food we have. Obesity as well, so if that's any indicator. But anyway, my 2 cents. Later.